Hello, and welcome to Transmission1 of the Liberate Yourself podcast. I'm Trista Dedman, and we're going to be discussing ways of cultivating personal sovereignty in these times of immense transition. My intention with this podcast is to have theoretical and practical discussions with others out there who are living a self-directed life and co-creating a new reality. Join me and others as we share our journeys of unfolding through esoteric philosophy, consciousness expansion, astrology, metaphysics, occult principles, and other mystical practices. Tune in and reclaim your personal sovereignty on your own terms. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural transmission of the Liberate Yourself podcast. My name is Trista Dedman, and I'm a digital designer, mystic, astrologer, tarot reader, and I wanted to start a podcast to have a space to share my story of unfolding and also others to share their own stories of self-becoming in these transitional times. Times are definitely changing. It's not debatable at this point even. You don't have to be, a mystic or a seer or an empath to know that there is definitely a changing of the guards, so to speak. Institutions and systems that we felt were solid and true are now crumbling before our eyes. This is very exciting. I'm very excited about it. And one of the reasons I'm so excited is because this gives us the perfect opportunity to co-create a new reality, co-create with the universe, co-create with each other. This is essentially the age of Aquarius coming into being, which is amazing. You've probably heard many people talk about, ascension times or moving from 3D into 5D, and it's given many names. I don't ascribe to any one of these terms, but what is definitely happening is our consciousness is changing. The levels of consciousness of the earth and of all of the people it's at this opportunity where we're able to tap into these higher frequencies. And so far for me personally, it feels amazing. Many people I've talked to are just really excited about this change. It can seem very polarizing and very ominous out there, though, if you get swept up in the mainstream narrative. I'm sure we'll be getting into more of that, but there's many streams of consciousness, and the mainstream just happens to be the overarching, general narrative out there. But luckily this is changing. This is one of the things that's crumbling, and it also feeds into why I've been wanting to produce this podcast. Thanks to technology and our times changing over, we have abundant opportunities to share our own stories, to change the narrative, again, to co-create the narrative and create new streams of consciousness that can help guide others. And so, long story short, too late for that, this is why I wanted to start this podcast. So in my own life, I cultivate what I call personal sovereignty, and you've probably heard this term. Personal sovereignty essentially is turning inward to become intimately acquainted with your own truth and to transform yourself and be able to navigate your reality with your own authority as the guide, not having outside authority control or manipulate how you perceive the world and how you move about in the world. So the ways that I do this personally, my personal path of unfolding includes classic Hermeticism, astrology, occult knowledge, and self-becoming through these modalities. And what I want to do is have people on that are using, their own systems, that are using their own inner authority to navigate this new paradigm and create it. And hopefully through that, you can pick up some, kernels of wisdom along the way for your own path. That's the intent. So my main message to you with this introduction, hi, nice to meet you, is to basically remember that as you see the reality around you changing, and it's going to be changing very rapidly, it can feel scary. It can trigger fear responses. Just know that we need to stay constantly vigilant, yet peaceful at our core. And that's what personal sovereignty is all about, to know your foundation, your core being is the one consistent truth with a capital T. And making decisions from that place based on virtue rather than vice and lower base instincts, it's what is going to get you through to living your highest purpose, living in the kind of world that you've always dreamed of seeing. That's why we're here. We're not here to struggle. We're not here to be fearful and scared and to, give our power away, give our empowerment away to others, give our decision-making skills away to others. And I am so passionate about helping people, both with my own business and in life. I'm so passionate about everyone operating from their own core truth, their own true will, essentially, as it's known in occult practice. And whatever I can do to pass along resources, to introduce you to people who have other resources, and to give a platform and hold space so that the conversations that I hope will help guide you can happen. I'm very excited to be doing this. This promises to be a wild ride of transformation, and this is my trigger to the universe. I'm putting it out there in hopes that it will grow organically, and I'm just doing my best to steer the ship. And I hope you'll join me in this exercise of liberation for all of us. And I hope this will be a valuable resource on your own path of personal sovereignty. Thank you for listening to the inaugural transmission of the Liberate Yourself podcast. I hope you'll join me for provocative and stimulating conversations that can aid you on your own path of building personal sovereignty. Be sure to subscribe via iTunes or your favorite podcast app so you can get episodes as they roll out. You can also go to liberateyourselfpodcast.com and get on the mailing list so you don't miss an episode. One of the most beneficial ways I've learned to cultivate personal sovereignty is by learning about my natal astrology chart. This is by far the most illuminating way to discover and embody your inherent gifts as laid out by the cosmos. Listeners of the Liberate Yourself podcast receive 20% off these readings with me. Go to tristadedman.com and click on guidance to learn more, and use the code LIBERATEME when booking any astrology or tarot reading service. Again, thank you so much for listening and being here, guys. I don't know where this is going, but I'm looking forward to what this journey brings. Take care out there.